Gravity's fake. Centrifugal for a higher power powering the motorcycle. Is there a mustache?
Ivy Kelvin fought through brutal injuries. Barry Weiss barely survived a terrifying crash, and others faced scandals you won't believe. These are 20 Storage Wars members who stared death in the face. The last entry will stun you. Bonus inside. Let's start with number 20, Rick Cauffill.
Oh, wow, that is a really tough one.
Wow, see, well, I had this all flipped around.
Well, let's see.
Rick Cauffill brought grit and determination to Storage Wars Canada. He wasn't the loudest bidder in the room, but he was respected for his sharp eye and willingness to gamble on risky lockers. Behind the scenes, though, Rick faced an enemy that never gave him a break: diabetes. The illness forced him to balance his passion with constant management. Crew members often saw him push through fatigue during long auction days. Some said he showed up pale and trembling, yet still outbid competitors. Rick rarely spoke publicly about his health, but whispers circled that the disease led to frightening close calls. Even so, he stayed in the game. His resilience became part of his legend. Fans remember the man who wouldn't back down, even when his own body tried to. And just as Rick fought in silence, another cast member found herself in a very different battle, this time with a virus that stopped the entire world. Coming in at number 19, Brandi Passante.
Our unit's full of brand new furniture.
Wow.
Yeah. So, we've spent some money,
Brandi Passante built her reputation as half of the show's power duo. Fans loved her sharp comebacks and the way she could turn a locker into profit with sheer instinct. But in 2020, her strength was tested in a way bidding wars never could, when she caught COVID. The illness hit her hard. Brandi admitted she was down for weeks, exhausted and struggling to recover. Friends described her as uncharacteristically quiet, conserving energy instead of cracking jokes. For someone always in control, it was unsettling to see her sidelined. Viewers later praised her honesty when she opened up about the experience. It showed another side of Brandi, vulnerable, human, and enduring. She returned to filming after recovery, proving that illness couldn't erase her fire. But as Brandi regained her strength, another familiar voice from the show faced a collapse that nearly ended his career for good. At number 18, we have Dan Dotson.
So, if you enjoy it, hang it on your wall. If you want to remind yourself of mistakes from the...
Dan Dotson's lightning-fast auction calls made him the heartbeat of Storage Wars. He thrived in chaos, keeping bidders hooked with his rhythm and swagger. Then in June of 2014, the unthinkable happened. At home one morning, Dan suddenly collapsed. Doctors discovered not one but 2 brain aneurysms. His speech faltered, his body weakened, and his wife Laura feared she was watching his last moments. The odds weren't in his favor. Yet Dan fought back. After emergency surgery and weeks of recovery, he stunned everyone by returning to the auction block later that year. His energy wasn't dimmed. If anything, it felt stronger, like he'd stared down death and refused to lose. Fans now see more than just an auctioneer when Dan steps up. They see a survivor, a man whose voice almost went silent forever. But if Dan's story rattled viewers, another cast favorite soon faced his own near-death experience on 2 wheels. Next up, number 17, Barry Weiss.
Every single year, and you couldn't wait to go down and see the new cars, regardless of the manufacturer.
Barry Weiss was never an ordinary buyer, rolling up in classic cars, wearing sunglasses no one else could pull off. He became the show's cool uncle, but in 2019, life caught him in the harshest way. A motorcycle crash in Los Angeles left Barry with serious chest and back injuries. He spent weeks in ICU, enduring surgery after surgery. For fans, it felt impossible. How could the man who joked through every auction now be fighting for his life in a hospital bed? Barry later admitted recovery was brutal, but his spirit never faded. When he finally returned to Storage Wars, the cheers weren't just for his comeback, they were for his survival. He proved once and again that his greatest treasure was never in a locker, but in his ability to endure. And just as Barry's return gave fans hope, another Canadian cast member's crash reminded everyone how fragile the road could be. Sliding into number 16, Roy Dernbeck.
I couldn't believe it was going on, so I started it out here and had some luck with it.
Roy Dernbeck was known for his bold bids and even bolder personality. On Storage Wars Canada, he often clashed with rivals, driving prices sky high with his relentless style. But in 2016, his world stopped outside the auction stage. Roy was involved in a brutal car accident that left him with broken ribs, a concussion, and weeks in recovery. For a man who thrived on being loud and intimidating, suddenly being fragile was a shock. Crew members later said he hated being away from auctions more than the pain itself. Fans missed his larger-than-life presence, and when he returned, they noticed the difference, slower movements, but the same fire in his eyes. Roy never talked much about the crash, but his scars told the story. And while Roy battled broken bones, another cast member was fighting demons of a completely different kind, demons that no doctor could fix. Let's move on to number 15, Jared Schultz.
Thing is really good, but you gotta always, for us personally, you gotta always be ready to take a picture with somebody.
Yeah.
At the grocery.
Jared Schultz started as the young gun, fearless and quick to take chances on lockers. Together with Brandi Passante, they built one of the most memorable partnerships on the show. But off camera, Jared's story turned darker. Over the years, he wrestled with substance abuse and run-ins with the law. At one point, police reports detailed charges that threatened to derail both his career and his personal life. Unlike a broken bone, these battles couldn't be healed with time. They followed him into every part of his world. Fans noticed his absence when Brandi continued on the show without him. Their breakup in 2018 only added to the struggles. Jared's charm and fire at the auctions were real, but so were the shadows he faced when the camera stopped rolling. And while Jared's troubles came from choices, the next cast member faced danger in a way that no one could predict, an accident on the road that nearly cost her everything. At number 14 on our list, Casey Nozzola.
Why? Because not everybody can be a good mom, and I have a good role model. My mom's a good mom.
I love it. Okay. And
Casey Nozzola, often seen alongside her husband Renee, brought warmth and humor to the auction scene. Together, they were known as the bargain hunters, turning dusty lockers into profit machines. But in 2015, Casey's life took a sharp turn. She was involved in a serious car accident that left her hospitalized. Reports said her injuries, though not fatal, were enough to keep her off her feet for weeks. Fans worried, would the bargain hunters duo lose its balance without her steady presence? Casey fought back with resilience. By the time she returned to filming, she carried herself with the same confidence as before, proving nothing could keep her down for long. Behind her smile was a reminder that the risks of real life are far greater than any gamble on a storage unit. And while Casey healed, another veteran in the Texas spin-off faced his own health scares, this time with his heart. Taking the number 13 spot, Ricky Smith.
I'd like to see that, man. I've never seen anything hit bulletproof stuff.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just set it up.
Ricky Smith was a cornerstone of Storage Wars Texas, always seen with his nephew Bubba at his side. Together, they were the dependable duo, steady and reliable in a world full of loud personalities. But Ricky's health began to show cracks. He suffered heart-related scares that left him hospitalized more than once. Friends recalled auction days where Ricky looked pale and tired but pushed through anyway. For a man so deeply rooted in his Texas community, stepping back wasn't an option, even when doctors advised caution. His nephew Bubba often picked up the slack, proving their partnership was more than business, it was family. Ricky's struggles showed just how demanding the storage game can be, both physically and emotionally, yet he stayed, driven by loyalty and pride. And while Ricky's heart gave him trouble, his nephew Bubba would soon face an even deadlier health scare that tested both men in ways they never expected. Coming in strong at number 12, Daryl Sheets.
The most interesting thing I see about this town is every weekend there's something.
Daryl the gambler Sheets built his reputation on bold risks. Remember his legendary $3,600 locker stuffed with Frank Gutierrez artwork valued at over $300,000? Well, that's Daryl, always chasing the big win. But in March of 2019, Daryl shocked fans with a message from the hospital. He had suffered not one but 2 major heart attacks. Doctors told him a deadly blockage named the widowmaker had nearly claimed his life. Survival rates for that condition are frighteningly low. Daryl underwent emergency surgery to have stents placed, and for a while fans weren't sure he would ever return. Yet the same man who gambled big on lockers gambled against death and won. When he reappeared, thinner and slower but smiling, it was proof that his fighting spirit hadn't changed. Still, while Daryl's battle was with his heart, another cast member carried her struggle in her back, one painful step at a time. Next is number 11, Mary Padian.
Weight of each person that's going to be on the flight.
That's correct, and a lot of people don't want to give their weight.
Mary Padian, nicknamed the Junkster, brought fresh energy to Storage Wars, Texas, before joining the main show. She had an artist's eye, often turning dusty furniture into stylish pieces that fans adored. But Mary's life behind the scenes weren't as carefree. Years of hauling heavy boxes, bending into lockers, and flipping bulky furniture took a toll. She developed chronic back issues that sometimes left her in pain long after filming wrapped. Unlike others who openly shared their health scares, Mary kept hers quiet. She focused on her craft, but her close friends knew she was managing discomfort every day. It's ironic, while she gave new life to broken objects, her own body was wearing down from the grind. Her struggles showed the hidden cost of the storage game. It wasn't just about treasures, but about the physical endurance. And speaking of endurance, another Canadian cast member found herself pushed to the limit by stress itself. Holding the number 10 spot, Cindy Hayden. Cindy Hayden brought a tough, no-nonsense attitude to Storage Wars Canada. She was sharp with numbers and sharper with her bidding, often locking horns with her rivals. But the pressure of the spotlight and the stress of constant competition came with a price. Reports surfaced that Cindy dealt with stress-related illness during the show's run. The long filming hours, the travel, and the endless pressures to outbid competitors wore her down. Fans noticed her absence in later episodes and wondered why. Behind the curtain, she was focusing on recovery. It's easy to forget that reality TV isn't just entertainment, it's grueling work. Cindy's story proved that even the strongest personalities can crack under the constant push to perform. She may not have had a dramatic accident, but her struggle was just as real. And as Cindy stepped back, another fan favorite faced a crisis that came not from stress, but from the twisted wreckage of a car crash. Now at number 9, Kenny Crossley.
These people in the stole sign.
Oh, those are cool.
Arizona, Oklahoma.
Kenny Crossley was known for his humor and light-hearted presence. A former security guard from New Orleans, he became one of the show's breakout stars, loved for his jokes and unique style. But in 2019, Kenny's life almost ended on the road. He was involved in a serious car accident that left him badly injured. Details were kept private, but close friends confirmed he required time away to recover. For a man who always brought laughter, this sudden brush with death shocked his fans. Imagine Kenny's booming laugh replaced by silence in a hospital room. It was a chilling contrast. Yet, true to his character, Kenny fought back with positivity and resilience. When he returned, fans welcomed him with open arms. The accident left scars, but it also deepened the love people felt for him. Still, while Kenny survived his crash, another Texas star faced battles money couldn't solve. Financial troubles that turned into health crisis. In at number 8, Lisa Lewis. Lisa Lewis, one of the standout buyers of Storage Wars Texas, was known for her fiery spirit and quick temper. She and her daughter, Jerry, made a fierce team, bidding aggressively and flipping units with skill. But Lisa's bold exterior often masked something heavier, stress that slowly chipped away at her health. Running a resale business is brutal. Long hours, unpredictable paydays, and the constant grind of competition left her physically drained. Friends said the weight of the financial strain often kept her up at night, and that exhaustion showed. Chronic stress isn't just emotional, it breaks the body down, and Lisa wasn't immune. Over time, the pressure contributed to serious health problems that sidelined her. Fans who remembered her fiery comebacks were surprised when she disappeared from the show. Lisa's story proved that even the strongest personalities can be worn down. And while stress hit Lisa hard, another star faced something even more terrifying, a sudden stroke that could have ended his career instantly. Let's roll into number 7, Dave Hester.
Would be, I found a full skeleton one time. It's not the most valuable, but it was definitely unique.
Dave Hester, the mogul, was the villain fans loved to hate. His booming catchphrase, "Yup," became iconic, echoing through auctions like a battle cry. But in 2019, that voice was nearly silenced forever. Dave suffered a hemorrhagic stroke, bleeding inside the brain that often kills without warning. He collapsed, lost control of his body, and was rushed to hospital. Doctors kept him under close observation for weeks, warning his road back would be slow and grueling. Rehabilitation was intense. Dave had to relearn basic movements and rebuild his strength step by step. For a man who thrived on control and confidence, being helpless was devastating. But true to form, he fought back, driven by the same stubbornness that made him a fierce competitor on screen. His eventual return stunned fans, who saw a different side of him, a survivor, not just a mogul. And as Dave rebuilt his life, another cast member lived every day in pain, carrying scars from his past life before the cameras. At number 6, we find Ivy Calvin.
You don't win them all, but you want them in all. You want to win them all, but you don't want anybody to see you losing them all, so it's tough. It's in between.
Ivy Calvin, nicknamed the King of Palmdale, had a presence that filled the screen. Before Storage Wars, Ivy was a professional football player and even dabbled in mixed martial arts. But years of brutal hits and training left his body with lingering damage. By the time he joined the show in Season 3, Ivy was already living with chronic pain from those old injuries. Friends say his knees and back often bothered him, especially during long shooting days that involved heavy lifting. Yet he rarely complained. He just pushed through with the same toughness that got him through sports. His resilience paid off. Ivy turned his second-hand store into a local landmark, all while continuing to bid aggressively. But fans who watched closely could see it. The winches, the slower steps, the quiet moments when the king had to rest. And while Ivy carried old wounds, another cast member battled a brand new illness that swept the world and left him gasping for air. Coming in at number 5, Renee Nzola.
It's a bad thing, you know. You meet any guys that might be a little bit larger than you, compliment them how good they're looking.
Okay.
Renee Nzola, half of the beloved Bargain Hunters duo, brought humor, boldness, and a thick German accent that fans adored. But in 2020, his confidence was stripped away when COVID hit him hard. Unlike some who recovered quickly, Renee's case was severe. He shared openly that the virus left him exhausted, weak, and fearful for his life. For a man always full of energy, it was shocking to see him slowed to a crawl. At the height of the pandemic, COVID claimed hundreds of thousands of lives in the U.S., and Renee knew he was lucky to survive. He later said the experience changed how he saw everything, from his family to his career. When he finally reappeared on screen, fans noticed the difference, a little thinner, a little slower, but still smiling. His fight was a reminder that not even the funniest face in the room is immune to tragedy. And while Renee fought off disease, another Texan fan favorite faced an infection that nearly ended his life. At number 4 on our countdown, Bubba Smith.
I'm asking Hugh, where am I coming from? You know, he said, it doesn't matter.
Bubba Smith, the loyal nephew and partner to Ricky Smith on Storage Wars, Texas, was always the quieter of the two. Ricky handled the fast talk, Bubba brought steady support, and together they made an unbeatable team. But behind his calm smile, Bubba faced a terrifying health scare. He contracted a serious infection that spread quickly, landing him in the hospital. Friends later revealed it was touch and go for days, with doctors warning it could turn septic. Infections like that kill thousands every year, and Bubba was dangerously close to becoming one of them. His absence during auctions was deeply felt. Ricky looked lost without his right-hand man. Fans were relieved when Bubba eventually recovered, returning to the auctions with renewed energy. Still, the scare proved how fragile the balance was. And while Bubba's infection rattled Texas, a crisis much closer to the main stage shook the auction world itself. Nearing the top at number 3, Laura Dotson.
People that are into the trade shows, and we're finding out all of the different folks that are part of storage.
Laura Dotson, one half of the husband and wife auctioneer team, was always full of poise. She balanced Dan's fiery pace with calm authority, running auctions like a seasoned professional. But in 2018, Laura herself became the headline. She suffered what doctors later described as a mini stroke. Symptoms hit suddenly: slurred speech, dizziness, confusion. For someone who relied on her voice and presence, the thought of losing those abilities was devastating. Dan rushed her to the hospital, fearing the worst. Thankfully, Laura's stroke was minor, and with treatments, she recovered. But it left both Dotsons shaken. If Dan's aneurysm had nearly ended him in 2014, now Laura was facing her own brush with mortality. Fans later noticed a shift in the couple. More gratitude, more care. The auction still rolled on, but everyone knew how close they came to losing her. And just as Laura bounced back, one Texas star would not be so fortunate. Runner-up at number 2, Mo Prigoff.
Takes up the shock, whereas when you're walking on cement, the impact.
Morris Mo Prigoff was unlike anyone else in the Storage Wars universe. A podiatrist by trade and an antiques expert by passion, he brought a touch of class and humor to Storage Wars, Texas. Fans adored his quirky sayings, colorful wardrobe, and infectious laugh. But off camera, Mo quietly battled illness for 6 long years. Few knew how sick he truly was. He kept much of it private, still appearing at events and maintaining his reputation as a gentleman of the trade. On March the 4th, 2021, Mo's journey ended. He passed away at the age of 80. His death hit fans hard. Castmates remembered him not just as a buyer, but as a friend, a man who could make an ordinary auction feel like a party. Texas never felt the same without him. And as fans mourned Mo, memories of another tragedy lingered, the darkest story in the entire Storage Wars saga. And finally, number 1, Mark Balelo. Mark Balelo, nicknamed Rico Suave, was one of the most flamboyant buyers on Storage Wars. Known for his flashy cars, sharp suits, and a bold personality, he seemed unstoppable. But his personal life told a different story. In February 2013, just days after being arrested on drug-related charges, Mark was found dead in his garage. Authorities ruled it suicide by carbon monoxide poisoning. He was only 40 years old. Fans were stunned. Here was a man who always appeared confident and untouchable on TV, suddenly gone. His death exposed the pressures of reality TV fame, business stress, and personal demons all colliding. Even today, Mark's story lingers as the show's greatest tragedy. For many viewers, it was the very first time they realized how heavy the cost of fame and fortune could truly be. His absence left a silence that no auction chant has ever been able to fill. That's our countdown of Storage Wars stars who faced life's toughest battles. If you enjoyed uncovering these stories, check out the other deep dives, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and never miss the next reveal.